Paycheck just hit my bank account not even 30 minutes ago. I just paid 4 bills. I have $200 left.
There's a poll that dropped today that said that 95% of Americans, not 95% of Democrats, 95% of Americans believe that there's an affordability crisis in this country.
What is a livable wage in 2026? Let's run the numbers and figure this out. Let's say you want to live by yourself and you get an apartment for $1,500 plus utilities, $400 for groceries, $300 for a used car, $150 for insurance, $150 for employee-sponsored healthcare, $100 for gas, $100 for personal care, $50 for cell phone, $50 for internet is $2,800, which I think is survival. That is the bare minimum that Americans need in 2026. So if you want to go further than that, I would say $200 for savings a month, $200 investing, $200 for fun, and $100 for subscriptions would put you at $3,500. Now in this example, there's no credit cards, no student loans. This person does not have children. They're not saving for anything luxurious. They got their savings, but that's more for emergencies, not for a house or anything like that. If you make $15 an hour, your take-home pay is going to be $22.10. So that's going to put you below surviving. So you're probably going to need a roommate making $15 an hour. If you make $20 an hour, your take-home is going to bump up to $28.80, which is going to put you right at surviving with $80 to spare, but it's surviving paycheck to paycheck, and you're kind of stressed out because you don't have much of savings or investing or anything like that. $25 an hour is going to put you at $35.60. I would say this is livable. You get everything on the list and you've got an extra $60, but it's livable paycheck to paycheck. And then $30 an hour or $62,400 is the first wage that I think puts you in the thriving category. Your take home is $42.40 and you have an extra $750 a month after everything on this list. But it's also someone that has low debt, and it depends on where you live and how you define livable or thriving depending on what your goals are in life. But I'd say as a blanket statement, a livable wage in 2026 in America, I would say about $25 to $30 an hour.
Every day there's another video of someone sharing where their paycheck went, explaining why they stopped buying things they used to enjoy, or wondering how they're making more money than they did a few years ago but somehow feeling even more broke. Watching all these clips back to back, it starts feeling less like people are just complaining and more like they're documenting what everyday life has quietly turned into. The part that really stands out isn't that everything costs more, it's how some people are realizing that they made the right responsible decisions. It's how so many people are realizing that they already made the responsible financial decisions and still searching for a room to breathe. It's how so many people are realizing that they made the right responsible decisions, but they're still looking for room to breathe.
I have cut out so many things in my life because I don't have money. And I'm just like, how much more can I cut out? How much more can my life get miserable? I don't go get my nails done anymore. I haven't gone to get my nails done probably since pre-COVID. I used to get my nails done all the time. And I get like maybe 2 pedicures a year. And I make that shit last months. And I don't get my massages anymore. I don't get facials anymore. I don't go get my hair done anymore. The one thing I will go get done is my eyebrows, which I desperately need to get done. But I don't go and get any beauty treatments done anymore. I don't get all the little luxuries that I used to have. I don't do. And it makes me so sad. But also, I don't really need to be spending money on a lot of those things that I've come up with alternatives and everything like that. But it just kind of sucks because sometimes I just want to go spend money on getting my nails done. Like for my birthday, I usually treat myself to getting my nails done, but I didn't last year and I'm not doing it this year because I don't have extra money for that. And I'd rather spend my money on going to travel. So I'm just kind of like, how much more do I need to cut out of my life? Like some days I'm truly miserable. A lot of the time I'm not, I will say. I've adapted, I've gotten used to it, and it could be worse. It could be way worse, but like, shit, I need more money.
The data is screaming people are broke, but nobody's paying attention. Bank of America just came out. They study debit transactions and credit card transactions of millions of people throughout the nation, and they're saying the pullback on spending outside necessities, they've never seen that. We heard Domino's Pizza say the consumer doesn't even want our $7 carryout pizza, which is technically one of the cheapest methods of fast food right now. You can get a whole pizza for $7. McDonald's has just come out and said consumer spending is still declining. People are not spending money like they should be. The economy, the administration, everybody's like, the economy is fine. But the underlyings of the economy, people are not fine. People are tight. The cost or increase of gas, increase of groceries, everything is increased. Corporate America is like profit. And the consumer's like, we can't no more.
One thing I don't think is talked about enough is what happens after you've already done everything people told you to do. People always throw out the same advice like stop eating out, cancel your subscriptions, make coffee at home, or don't buy things you don't need. The problem is that a lot of these people already did that months ago. For some, eating out isn't something they had to cut back because they already stopped. New clothes have turned into something you only buy when you absolutely have to. Vacations have become a maybe next year kind of thing. Little impulse purchases disappear without anyone really noticing. At some point, budgeting stops feeling like making smart choices and starts feeling like you're removing pieces of your life one by one. Then you open your bank account at the end of the month and somehow it's still not enough. That's the part that's frustrating. You can only shrink your spending so much before you're left looking at bills that aren't optional. Rent doesn't care that you skip buying lunch. Your insurance bill doesn't get cheaper because you cancel Netflix. Groceries still have to be bought. Gas still has to go in the car. Eventually, you reach a point where there isn't another expense to cut without making your actual quality of life noticeably worse. When people say they've cut everything and they're still struggling, that usually isn't an exaggeration. It's the realization that the budget isn't falling apart because of bad habits anymore. It's because there just isn't any extra room left to create.
Just 30 years ago, someone could be working at Macy's, marry someone who's working at Lowe's, 40 hours a week, get married, buy a house, and raise 3 children. The American dream, and pull that off in their late 20s or early 30s. Now, we created an economy where none of the essential jobs for Gen Zers can afford to have access to the American dream in a reasonable time frame. They might be able to save and get access to it at 57, but what the fuck? You want them to live in an apartment and sacrifice till they're 57? When every other generation before us got to have access to it in their late 20s, early 30s, if you f***ed up maybe late 30s, you shouldn't have to be a brain surgeon and a top YouTuber getting married to buy the average house and have 1 child. When just 30 years ago, a high school dropout who's like, I'm just going to live my life and get a job down the street could raise a family on that. That's the American dream. That's where the boomers get that work hard, pull yourself up. No shit. If you could drop out of high school and go work 50 hours a week at a factory and break your back, but you bought a house and raised 3 kids with a stay-at-home mom, you should be proud of that. We're not trying to take that from you. That doesn't exist anymore. You have to be extraordinary today to live an ordinary life.
164,566 total home foreclosures so far in 2026. 2025 is an 18% increase. 2026 over 2025. People cannot pay their mortgages, their bills. Get into June foreclosures. Foreclosures are now at a 7-year pandemic high. Warning, warning, warning. 38,623 home foreclosures in the United States in June 2026. It is a 19.8% increase in home foreclosures in June 2026, higher than June 2025. Foreclosures are when somebody can't pay their bills for 120 days. This is not a Biden problem. This is not an Obama problem. This is a Trump problem. People cannot pay their mortgages, their car payments, their student loans, their credit cards. Millions of people have lost their jobs. Inflation is up. Gas is up. Diarrhea, measles, mumps, Ebola. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Housing market is heading for a very troubled time. Housing contributes trillions of dollars into our economy. Hi, my name's Christina. If you found this post informative, please like, comment, follow, and share for more.
It's weird how a paycheck doesn't even feel like money anymore. For a lot of people, it feels like a countdown clock. The deposit finally hits, and before you even have a chance to see the number in your account, automatic payments start pulling money out. Rent, car payment, insurance, utilities, phone bill, maybe a credit card payment from last month. Within a day or two, the balance already looks completely different. Then the rest of the month turns into one big calculation. Can I buy this now, or should I wait till next payday? Can I buy this now, or should I wait till next payday? What if something unexpected comes up next week? Can I make these groceries last a few more days? Even major food companies have started saying they notice customers spending less towards the end of the month because they simply run out of money. That says a lot. It's gotten to the point where the first week after payday and the last week before payday almost feels like completely 2 different financial realities. And when something random happens during the last stretch, a flat tire, a doctor's visit, or even just needing to replace something that broke, it doesn't feel like an inconvenience anymore. It feels like the entire month suddenly has to be rearranged around one expense that wasn't supposed to happen.
So the Kraft CEO says consumers are literally running out of money at the end of the month. They are working on lowering prices, more promotion. And I'm not sure at what point these CEOs are going to understand that it's not necessarily just the cost of their products that are going up, but they are not paying people enough to afford the products that they are selling. This ketchup that we are talking about. I just checked on my grocery app. Heinz ketchup is being sold at 18 cents an ounce, whereas the off-brand ketchup is being sold at 6 cents an ounce. Like, it's ketchup. So maybe the problem isn't the fact that you're selling ketchup at $3 a bottle. It's the fact that you're not paying employees livable wages to afford freaking ketchup.
Is anyone else just sick of this life? Like, it used to be amazing. It used to be good. And then over the last 4 or 5 months, it seems like it's changed and gone to hell. Like, I want a final destination, this shit behind a truck. I'm not suicidal, so don't worry about that. But if that happened to happen, I would be fine with it. Like, I don't smile anymore. I'm exhausted all the time. I don't enjoy anything. I used to love making candles. Used to buy trading cards. Used to love playing video games. All that's gone. Is it because I'm getting old? I don't know. But I can't do this anymore. I just want it all to go away and stop. I can't be the only one that's feeling like this.
Something else that's easy to miss is the definition of doing well keeps quietly changing. Not too long ago, getting a raise felt like it meant you were finally getting somewhere. Now, a raise can disappear before it even feels real because everything around you gets more expensive too. People keep trying to calculate what a livable wage is, and every time someone does the math, the number seems higher than expected. That can be discouraging because it makes the finish line feel like it's moving while you're still running towards it. Then, you look at things like rising foreclosures, and it reminds you that financial stress isn't the only thing affecting people just trying to buy a home. Some people are struggling just to keep the one they already have. And after enough months of constantly thinking about money, burnout starts showing up in ways people didn't always notice. You stop planning ahead because you're too focused on making it through the next few weeks. You hesitate before committing to anything that costs money. You second guess purchases you wouldn't have thought twice about a few years ago. Even good news starts coming with a question of whether it'll actually make a difference. That's probably the hardest part of all. Most people aren't expecting some perfect lifestyle where they never have to think about money. They just want to feel like working hard actually creates a little more breathing room instead of feeling like they're constantly trying to catch up to a finish line that keeps moving further away. There's a reason so many conversations about money end with the same feeling, even when everyone has completely different jobs and lives. It's because being behind doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like putting another thing back on the shelves because you know another bill is coming. Sometimes it looks like hoping nothing unexpected happens before the next paycheck. Sometimes it looks like telling yourself you'll start saving next month and then saying the exact same thing 30 days later. The cycle is exhausting because it doesn't feel temporary anymore. You keep waiting for the month where everything finally settles down, then another expense shows up, or another price goes up, or another bill gets a little more expensive than it was before. Slowly, your definition of progress starts changing. Instead of asking how much you're saving, you ask whether you can make it through the month without adding to your credit card. Instead of celebrating a raise, you wonder how much of it is actually already spoken for. Instead of feeling ahead, you're just relieved nothing went wrong. That's why these conversations resonate with so many people. They're not really talking about one grocery bill, one rent payment, or one bad month. They're talking about what happens when enough small financial pressures stack on top of each other that they start changing the way people think about everyday life. When every dollar already has a purpose before it reaches your account, it becomes harder to imagine getting ahead. And when that feeling lasts long enough, people stop looking for shortcuts or magic solutions. They just want to feel like the effort they're putting in actually moves them forward again. Because right now, a lot of people feel like they're giving more than they ever have and ending up in the exact same place.